Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, March 9th, 2026. I, of course, am Hammer from Hammer Solutions, founder of great products like Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Be sure to check those out. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook and YouTube as we get together and talk about what's going on with the markets and mortgage rates. A lot to talk about these days with everything going on in the Middle East. So today, no exception to that. We got a lot to talk about. In fact, today we'll talk about oil breaking $100 a barrel, what that means for mortgage rates, where rates are likely to go from here. We'll talk about the economic calendar, what else we've got going on this week, and could it have any effect? Could it help us or hurt us? And we'll look at just kind of the rest of the headlines, but that's really the gist of it. It's really revolving all around that stuff. So if you're here this morning, say good morning. Remember, if you'd like to join us each and every weekday morning, you can go ahead and get a quick text reminder at hmmr.io/reminders where you sign up. We send a quick text alert just to remind you that we're going live and give you the link so you don't have to search for it. hmmr.io/reminder, or use this cool QR code there. Of course, you can unsubscribe at any time. We don't share your information with anybody. It's just for us to use to send you that text. So go check those out. Also, while you're signing up for things, remember to sign up for our email lock advice. This morning's is just about done. I got to put a little bit more into it to finish it up. But basically, each day we go ahead and send out a email version of kind of what we're going over. A nice little quote, an overview of what we think is happening with rates and pricing. In fact, we're going to change this one. Let's change this to locking all of them. It's just, that's where we're at. All right, there you go. Okay, so you can sign up for this at ratelockadvice.com. It's absolutely free. It's my gift to everybody, and I love sharing it. So what's not free, big money, our $7 text alerts. Friday was a perfect example of why you want to make sure you're signed up for our text alerts. Friday, we saw over 30 lenders reprice better. One thing I want to point out about our alerts that I think are very different than most others, I don't know of anyone else that warns you that you want to float because things are getting better. And again, I'm not throwing shade at anybody or, anything. It's just something that I noticed by monitoring some of the other services. Give me a minute. I'm going to share the screen and we'll show this bit on there. Come on. There it is. Let me move this over. So if we take a look here, let me share what the text alerts looked like the other day as we did this. But you could see, I got to pull up Presentify. Hold on a minute. There we go. All right. You could see right here, bonds having a great recovery. Very few reprices. Better yet, continue floating for now. And on Friday, I had said float to start the day with an eye on locking, because the damage had already been done. So we'll kind of go into more of that. But that's why I like our text alerts. I think that we bring something to the table that not everybody does. And you don't need to be watching all these fancy charts and stuff like I do all day. If you like to do that, like Ron Siegel does, then do that by all means. But you don't have to do that. And many of my LO friends don't want to do that. So yep, check them out. But my man, Randy Teakle, is correct. Lock them if you got them. So anyway, all the live folks here this morning, good morning, y'all. So great to have you here. There's about 40 of you on this morning. Kelly Haney, good morning, working from Texas. Are you on vacation? Ron Siegel said, today we celebrate National Meatball Day. National Meatball Day. And just for Hammer, we might want to celebrate National Barbie Day. Yeah, because I am a Ken doll, baby. I get that. I know how you could mix me up. I got that pretty boy Malibu style going. So National Meatball Day. Don't go trying to feed me any of them chicken meatballs or turkey meatballs either, any of that nonsense. There's no foul meatball. That is a foul meatball. We want beef meatballs, baby, beef and pork. That's a question for you. Do you make your meatballs just beef, or do you do beef and pork meatballs? Some of my Italiano friends, they'll remember you do pork. You mix some pork in with that beef when you're making meatballs. But that's it. And Randy said, if you ever feel like us mortgage folks haven't had a break for years, come on, man. We got rates that are down in the sixes. In fact, I think we've had a heck of a break, Randy. The fact that rates have not gone up a half a point with all this stuff going on, I think is a good one. So, all right, my friends, well, let's get into it. Let me show you all the good stuff here. Let's get started. Let me pull this up, get rid of my face, and we'll get into this. Amber, you are not ever going to convince me that I'm going with a chicken meatball. Sorry, not doing it. Not doing it. Kelly does beef, pork, and venison. I could do that. I'm not a big venison guy, but beef and pork, occasionally some lamb. There you go. Grandma's recipe, Mike Morano. Yes. Yeah, that's it, baby. All right. So taking a look here, my friends, we're down here in the corner. You can see this chart. Let's go ahead and see if we can't zoom in on it. Hold on. Nope. Let me refresh the page so I can scroll. Here we are. All right. So looking at what happened on Friday, you can see that we started the day very low. If we put this on a 5-day, you can see Friday, we went from right here. We were up on the day, started the day low right here. Now let's zoom back in on that and look a little closer. We had the jobs data come out at 8:30. Very weak jobs data. Minus 92,000 jobs created. Minus 92,000. That means jobs lost. Unemployment went to 4.4%. Bonds rallied hard on the news and then immediately plummeted down to the worst levels of the day. Pricing comes out generally around 10 a.m. And you could see that we were near the lowest levels of the day, but we were seeing recovery as traders kind of dug deeper into the jobs data and looked at how everything was rolling out. And again, we expect volatility. We saw, look at this, a lot of improvement through the day. When you see mortgage bonds and mortgage-backed securities, when you see these prices go higher, right? When we see these go higher, that is a good thing. That gives us a smiley face here for mortgage bonds compared to the 10-year treasury yield. We want this to go lower. We want bond prices to go higher. So we saw a nice recovery, generally capping out here. That's why, like I had showed you, we had, come on, where'd it go? There it is. We had some of our, there it is, pop this back up. Okay. So that's why we had that update and said, hey, you know, don't lock yet. Don't lock, because lenders hadn't started to reprice better. That was around here, but we had seen quite a recovery and we expected it. So lenders were generally repricing better here. As the afternoon went on, bonds lost a little bit of ground here and ended up ending the day down around 5 basis points compared to big losses that we had when pricing had come out. So that was a bit of a win. Rate sheets today, though, are likely to be worse. We're down 7 basis points at the moment. But once again, look at this big drop that we had. See this line? See how this is where we ended on Friday? This is where we opened on Monday. And there was a big drop in bond prices. We were down as low as around 99.50. So we're actually up about 12 or 13 basis points from the lows where we were at a little bit this morning. You can see that like right about here. And that's fantastic. It's nice to see a bit of recovery. However, we're still likely to see rate sheets that are going to worsen this morning. Looking at where we've been, guys, I got to tell you, I know it doesn't feel like a win, but it really, really is quite a bit of a win. I mean, we have seen our best prices were right here at the end of February, and it looked like we were poised to maybe improve on the week, right? We were 5.99 was our best pricing here. And then we opened up on Monday with the Iran conflict, and rates went up about 1/8 of a point. And even though every day we wake up and they're much, much worse, we see some recovery through the day. We've actually seen rates that are much better. Look at this is much better than what I would expect to see based on the fact that oil is currently over $100 a barrel. It was up to 119. It did fall back down. Right now, I think it's at just a hair. Let's see. We want ice Brent. So let's take a look here and see. According to CNBC, we're right around that $100 a barrel mark. I mean, again, look at this jump that we had in oil prices. The fact that rates are as good as they are is surprising. We've seen that 10-year Treasury yield just go insane. We were down. Remember, this was what, 3.94. 3.94. We're at 416. We're up 22 basis points last week in that 10-year Treasury yield. And yet rates not really that much worse. Not that much worse. So although nobody ever feels lucky, I got to say, Mr. Randy Teakle, this is catching a break, man. This is catching a break. Randy says every time they try to improve, they go back up. Yeah, like the old gangster said, the Godfather movie. But even still, this is not bad. So keep that in mind. As far as things go this week, of course, again, rate sheets are going to be a little bit worse this morning as oil jumps to over $100 a barrel. And it's likely to continue to escalate from here and get worse. Keep that in mind. So the reprice risk on the day is moderate. Bonds are showing some nice signs of recovering right now. Let me move this over and slide this up. Okay. Bonds are showing some nice signs of recovering right now. You see that right here specifically, but we could lose that and we could go negative. So we can expect continued volatility. Again, it definitely puts us in a position. We're locking everything for protection. Rates are not that bad yet, and we could see them get worse. Come on, go back here and let me just slide this over. Hold on. Let me get rid of this too as a background. It's a little too confusing. Here you go. Okay. So, I mean, come on, man. These are the similar rates that we had around a month ago. 6.14, 6.14. I mean, you don't get anything. That's not bad. Yes, we experienced the blessed 5.99s for quite a while. Look at this. We were at 5.99 for, over a week there. And so I feel your pain, but these are still really solid low rates, and they're likely to creep higher. As far as what's going on in the world, the Iran has appointed, let me slide this over a little bit more. Iran has appointed the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, his son, right? They've appointed his son, which means that it's very unlikely we get diplomatic resolution anytime soon. This guy is just as much of a nut job as his father was, and a religious zealot, and death to the West kind of guy. So they're not moving. The Strait of Hormuz, when that does open up, things will get a little bit easier. But right now, it's still basically closed, and that's a big deal. We are going to see energy prices drive up prices on everything. Remember, as oil prices go up, yes, the U.S. can produce a tremendous amount of our own oil. We're actually a very large exporter. However, when prices go up globally, it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect shipping costs and delivery costs. And as oil prices drive up gas prices, a lot of people say, why are gas prices going up now? First of all, a lot of busy stations. They get deliveries every day. If they're like, people are like, this is gas from 3 weeks ago. No. Gas stations, unless they're in the middle of like rural Mississippi, gas stations don't sit on gas for 3 weeks. When we have a national, like when we had the Hurricane Helene over here in Western North Carolina, we were out of gas in 2 days. All right. Now, granted, you have more of a demand than normal, which will drive that. But without replenishment, we were out of gas at gas stations everywhere in 2 days. All right. When they get gas prices, they have to anticipate what they're going to buy the next truckload at. That's why prices go up. Now, legally, prices can only go up at the pump. I don't know if you know this. Let me know in the comments. How many times can gas stations change their price in a day? Let me know in the comments, put you down your guess, or let me know if you know for sure. How many times can gas stations legally in the United States change their prices during the day? But other than that, no, you're going to see a very immediate reaction because they have a cash forward accounting system. They have to buy gas and anticipate buying gas at a much higher amount. The reason that so many gas stations have stores that sell monster drinks and all the other crap is that's where the profit is. The profit is on the garbage sugar products that they sell us in the little gas station convenience stores, not in gas. Gas has a very, very small profit margin, especially for station owners, and small. A lot of stations are independently owned. So Mitchell says twice. Ron Siegel said Costco near me gets gas delivery 6 times a day. Angela Walters said she's guessing 2. The answer, believe it or not, is 1. They are allowed to change their price 1 time a day. They set their price for the day, and that's it. I remember when we had the 9/11, I mean, I'm dating myself here, but we had the 9/11 scenario back in 2001. I remember the gas station in the strip mall where I was changed their prices more than once during the day, and they were fined. I remember talking to the manager. Somebody reported them and they were fined, but it was gas had shot up so fast, oil had shot up so fast that the company, it was a Cumberland Farms, they told them to do it and they ate the fine rather than sell the gas at the discount at the price that it was at. That's how bad it was. So anyway, gas stations are allowed to change their price 1 time a day, and that's it. But you're going to see where they're selling forward. Remember fuel surcharges? Get ready to see that stuff again. That's what happens when you have oil at $100 a barrel. You're going to see fuel surcharges. You're going to see it gets more expensive to ship. Everything gets more expensive when gas goes up like this, and it's happening globally. So it's more expensive to get things in and shipped here and everything else. So Randy said profit in the is in the gas station sushi. Exactly. Usually the sushi is Reese's and Monster drinks, though. Ron said about the Costco near him delivering 6 times a day. That's insane, but it shows, I mean, the traffic that they have someone there, it shows just how much that is. So, but yeah, that's the reason why I know some people were very aggravated at seeing gas prices move. But that's what it is. They have to anticipate what they're buying the next one at, and they will price accordingly. Because remember, when prices come down, you can't have a higher price because you still have gas left over that you paid more money for, and you don't want to take a loss on it. So it's easier to price forward, because then if you have to lower your price because you're anticipating what you're going to buy the next one for being cheaper, you can lower your prices faster. So the prices go up faster, but especially it is a competitive business, which we could use more of in a lot of industries. But there's usually not just one gas station. There's usually multiple. They're competitive. And that's why if you had one gas station that was 10 cents or 20 cents cheaper than the other one because of volume and that they were pricing, that would be a big thing. And that's why you see that behavior. So anyway, taking a look here, oil prices are likely to continue to move higher, though. Right now, the other problem that's happening, these countries and companies, Kuwait and Iraq, Saudi Arabia, they can't produce any gas because they have no way of getting it out of there. That's going to shut down huge amounts of money coming into these countries. And this is a machine. Remember, there's millions of barrels of oil a day that come out of these places, millions that we're going through. So this is a big deal. A lot of Americans don't quite understand just how big a deal this is. This is a big deal. And that's why we're going to see things continue to get worse. That's why in times like this, you want to be locking, because we're likely to see more volatility in markets, likely to see 10-year treasury yield continue to work its way higher. We could be at 4.25 later this week. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick at some of the other stuff on the economic calendar, and then I'll wrap up for the day. So I know I've gone a little bit long. Oops, no, let's go a little smaller then so I can, there it is. I need this so I can get the economic calendar. Okay, now we'll zoom back in again. All right, so looking at the economic calendar and what we've got for this week. Today, really nothing going on today. You got consumer inflation expectations. It doesn't really mean anything. Tomorrow, you've got your existing home sales. That's not going to affect rates at all. We've got that new ADP weekly employment change on Wednesday. That's the big day. That would have been inflation. Well, it still will be. It'll be inflation. So we've got CPI inflation data coming in on Wednesday. However, it's going to take a back seat because this is old data, and everything that's going on with the price of oil is going to drive up inflation. So you're not going to see a strong positive reaction. We got good old Mickey Bowman talking on the Wednesday. Thursday, you got housing starts, jobless claims, all that same stuff there. Bowman again. Some bond auctions. None of this stuff matters. It'll all be the same thing it was last week. It's all going to be a focus on what are the headlines coming out of the Iranian conflict and everything's happening there. So this is the big thing as stocks and bonds slide globally, as oil tops $100 and markets wrap. This is going to be the big thing here. So markets have been rocked by disruption to supply out of the Persian Gulf. Prices of oil and gas have soared as the U.S. and Israel continue to strike Iran, while the Islamic Republic retaliates with missiles and drones across the Middle East. A sustained increase in energy costs could trigger a surge in inflation. And that, of course, is why there's no expectation of any Fed rate cuts anytime soon. So there you go. All right, my friends. Well, that's it for today. We've kind of hit it all up. Hope y'all have a son has already been injured in an attack. I would not want to be his carrier. That's funny. Limit to price change frequency determined by state. Other states allow for dynamic pricing, can change markets throughout the day. I'm going to Google that. That's a great question, Ron. I didn't think it was. I do know that for sure in Jersey it was one time a day. I'll check and see if that's a national or a state by state. California likes to change multiple times per day so the state can collect more taxes. So yeah, maybe that is state by state. That's interesting. Well, look at me spreading misinformation and Ron corrected me. So thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right, my friends. Well, thanks again. Appreciate all of you being here. Hopefully we have some better news soon, but for now, lock 'em, lock 'em, lock 'em, lock 'em. Thank you, Christy. Appreciate you. Yeah, I know the irony, like Ron points out, the irony is that the United States does not need OPEC gas. We don't need gas from the Middle East because we do produce quite a bit of our own. However, it's still going to affect global markets big time, and that means that it still affects us big time. So, all right, my friends, have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow, and we'll see if there's anything different to talk about. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.